Hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. First Friday of 2025. We've got 5 games on the slate. You're watching Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV. Now, I'm excited for these 5 games, and we know what we say. Anything can happen out there on the ice on a Friday, and I'm excited for some of these matchups. Are the Ducks quacking again is my biggest question of the day. The Ducks able to beat Edmonton just back on December 29th in Anaheim. Now are in Edmonton. They're on the second night of a back-to-back. We'll see what they have, what they're going to bring to Edmonton. Edmonton should be able to score in that one, though. We're going to kick it off looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Florida Panthers. Now, the Florida Panthers here, they've taken some disappointing losses as of late. They did lose that one to Montreal 4-0 a week ago. Yeah, I believe that was on Friday. Yeah, it would have been a week ago. Now, they lost last night to the Carolina Hurricanes in a game they just get away from them. So they've lost 3 in a row here. That loss last night was a 3-1. I expected so much more out of them. And then we look at the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're off a loss on Tuesday to the Red Wings. So that was New Year's Eve. They lost that on the road 4-2. Tristan Jarry expected here for them, and Spencer Knight expected for the Florida Panthers. Now, when we look at Spencer Knight, the last time he faced the Pittsburgh Penguins, he allowed those 5 goals, and is 5 or 6 goals in that one, 5 goals, and it was on very limited shots. I believe 16 shots on net. And the Pittsburgh Penguins were able to net 5 of them. So it's going to be a hard spot here for Spencer Knight. The defense of the Florida Panthers is going to want to play that lockdown style hockey and really limit the Pittsburgh Penguins, led by Sidney Crosby, out here. Just will they be able to do so is my biggest question mark. I'm expecting those goals, and I'm expecting them quick in this one. We've got both teams to score in the first period coming in at plus 168. The over 1.5 at minus 134. So I am going to take a shot on that. I do like the Pittsburgh Penguins' ability to roll in here with a little bit of confidence after they did win early December, 5-4 style game. They need to show more consistency if this team wants to make the playoffs. And we know that top line with Malkin and Crosby really have been digging deep, and I think they dig deep in this one, but there's no denying the talent over here of the Florida Panthers. Sam Reinhart, Barkov, Matthew Tkachuk. I really do think we're going to have strong nights out of them. As for total-wise, this is really going to depend on what Spencer Knight allows in tonight. We could so easily see this one go over that total, and we could see that bounce back out of goaltending. So I think this is a high-scoring first period, and then I'm going to stay off the total for the rest of the game unless we really see this spark up to a 7.5. Then I will be looking at the under. Caution, though, with that under, even at a 7.5, because that last matchup was 5-4. Could this one go to OT? I feel OT in this game, you guys. Tight battle, 3-3 going to overtime, or 2-2 going to overtime. Good morning. I see each and every single one of you jumping in these comments so quick today. Good morning to each and every one of you. I appreciate you being here. If you could hit that like, share, and subscribe button, I definitely appreciate it. Let's get this money today. We need a bounce back. Larry, it is me today. I can interact with you. I apologize for yesterday. There's just some recordings I had to do with the grid. So, and thank you for loving the earrings. My mom gave them to me at Christmas. She knows I love these big earrings. Yeah, yesterday, we need to get it back together. Yesterday was absolutely brutal, Juice. I'm not going to lie. We had the Rangers getting the win over the Bruins. We had Calgary starting Dan Vladar and not Dustin Wolf, and Calgary losing to Utah. It was a mess. It was a complete mess out there on the ice. Let's have a nice bounce back here. It just shows you when I have to record and not be able to talk to you guys, just not the way to go. I love Sam Reinhart for the anytime goal. And I do think this one goes over that total. I lean to the over better than the under. Tavares was your only leg of a 6-leg anytime goal that didn't hit. Larry, God, that hurts. John Tavares should have played so much better in that matchup. Low scoring Friday for you. Okay. The first period, I'm going to take over 1.5. Both teams to score in the first period. I'm going to stay off the full game total, but I do think that is the way this one plays out. Now, when we look at the Montreal Canadiens, I forgot to give you guys the odds on that one. And the dogs are barking at my house. So what does that say about Chicago here? Could the Chicago Blackhawks be barking? They're at plus 118, Montreal at minus 142. Just those quick lines for that Penguins game. The Penguins are a plus 180 underdog in this one. I do think this is a one-goal game, so something to watch for the live betting situations here with the Florida Panthers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. If Florida goes up first in that first period, coming back in on the Pittsburgh Penguins is definitely going to be a way that I'll be going plus 1.5. Right now, plus 1.5 is minus 144, so I don't want to jump on it. That total is sitting at a 5.5. At 5.5, I like it to the over, but it's minus 134. I can't hit on a minus 134 to the over between these two teams. Live betting this one to the under once we get like a 7.5. I think we could see that 7.5 coming up. Okay, so Montreal versus Chicago was the game that we're going to talk. This is where the dogs started barking. Chicago coming in at plus 118. Montreal rolling so freaking hot, you guys. Montreal getting wins over teams that they shouldn't be. They're at minus 142 here. Is this going to be the game where it's a Freaky Friday? We know the weirdest stuff happens on Fridays in hockey. The underdogs are always barking. This is my favorite place to play those dogs. Everyone looking forward to that Saturday slate. The big games are always played on Saturday. Now, Montreal does have the look ahead to the Colorado Avalanche, but this is a Montreal team. They need every single win they can get. So they're minus 142, total of 6.5. The juice to the total is on that under today. Sam Montague expected here. They've won their last 3, like I said, been on complete fire. So the win over the Panthers kicked it all off, 4-0 win out of the break. Then they took on the Tampa Bay Lightning, beat them 5-2. Then they took on the Vegas Golden Knights and beat them 3-2. All of these games were on the road. First night of back-to-back, the Avs on deck tomorrow. Now sitting 6th in the Atlantic. They're only 7-10-1 on the road this season. So looking at them before they got these 3 wins, they'd only had 4 wins on the road. So something to account for here. They're home on Monday facing the Vancouver Canucks. Now they did win this matchup back on the 22nd, 5-2 versus the Chicago Blackhawks. Chicago coming off that outdoor game, the Winter Classic, and one which they just didn't show up. Like, they shouldn't have got off the train. I don't know if you guys saw that video. They did take the train. They just shouldn't have got off it because they didn't play like they did. It's just so hard in these Winter Classic games for teams to be able to get things done. The ice is so different out there. So that was a 6-2 loss to St. Louis. If you were riding with me, both teams scored in the first period, and it was a high-scoring game. We got St. Louis for the win. It was a great one out there. Looking at tonight, I'm looking for that bounce back out of Chicago, but can they do enough to get the win here is the biggest question mark. I'm not sure they can do enough to get the win. We look at Connor Bedard. I do think he has a big game tonight. I think Connor Bedard for 2+ points in tonight's game is definitely something that you want to play on. I'm looking for that step up after they've been just cut down even by their GM for not showing up in that game. So Connor Bedard, 2+ points. Tara Vinen in his last 10 games has been great. I think if Connor Bedard gets the 2+ points, Tara Vinen gets the assist. Tara Vinen has 1 goal and 10 assists in the last 10 games. So looking at Tara Vinen for the assist today is a really strong way to go. Chicago could pull off the upset, but even if Chicago pulls off the upset, I think we see Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield putting the points on the board here for Montreal. I think they are playing so strong right now. Patrick Laine as well. Patrick Laine for the anytime goal tonight is coming in at plus 240. I love his ability to get a goal, 6 goals and 2 assists in the last 10 games. So he has been fire. The Canadiens have beat Chicago in Chicago. It just feels somehow like this is going to be a letdown spot, even though they're starting their top goaltender. I think the Chicago is going to push them in this one. I could still see Montreal getting the win, but I do think this is one where they really push them in this matchup. So be cautioned here, taking Montreal, especially at this price. You got to lay the juice, and that's not where I want to go, laying the juice on the Montreal Canadiens. It would be different here if we're even getting a minus 110, but I like the situation where I'm going to stay off the side because I don't like the price. I'm going to take player props. It's going to be Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield parlayed for a point for me. I'm going to then take Connor Bedard for 2+ points. I'm going to take Tara Vinen for the assist tonight. I'm going to then look here at Patrick Laine for the goal for Montreal. Jake Evans, also, if you're looking for someone who has been hot, Jake Evans over this hot streak has been great. He's had a goal in 5 of the last 6 for the Montreal Canadiens. These teams trend to the under, and Montreal has had the upper hand, winning the last 4 meetings and 4-1 in the last 5 in Chicago. So those are your trends, you guys. I just don't want to jump on a side in this one. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. Yeah, Cole Caulfield, anytime goal. It should go over that total as well. Blackhawks are in for a ride. Yeah, the Blackhawks, I tell you, this team really needs to step up. So they're 7-10-0 at home, 8th in the Central. It's going to be interesting. You're going to take Bedard under 2.5 shots on goal. Yeah, Connor Bedard really gets locked down by these teams. You look at the defense here of Montreal. This defense does allow those shots to come in. So Connor Bedard in this one, I'm expecting that step up. I really am. They were cut down way too much in that last game. Let's move on to the Ottawa Senators. They are taking on the St. Louis Blues. So the St. Louis Blues off the win in the Winter Classic. Ottawa rolling in here at -110. This is a straight pick 'em either way, -110. We've got a lot of 5.5s today. This is another 5.5. It's -104 to the over, -118 to the under. I understand why the books want this one to stay under that total, putting it at -118. I just can't get there. I think we have so much talent offensively on both sides. And the St. Louis Blues will want to lock down on the defensive side of things. We know this team can be great defensively and great in net. Jordan Binnington expected here. But I look at the Ottawa Senators. They're off the loss to the Dallas Stars last night, second night of a back-to-back. They allowed 4 goals to the Dallas Stars, only putting up 2 themselves. I think they're going to have some success here versus Jordan Binnington. You got to remember the last time the Ottawa Senators faced the St. Louis Blues, they got a huge win. It was back in October. I believe it was an 8-1 win there for the Sens. They were able to rack up those goals. Now, the St. Louis Blues, we know their defense has really improved since then, so they're going to be looking to come out nice and strong. Robert Thomas should have a great game. Jordan Kyrou and Jake Neighbors for the Blues, and I expect them to hit Anton Forsberg here. Anton Forsberg doesn't have great numbers. He's expected tonight for the Senators. So I'm going to look at what I'm looking at in the Florida Panthers game. I'm going to look for this game to start off hot. I think both teams score in the first period. That's coming in at +188. And the over 1.5 cashes in the first period. That's coming in at -110. And then we see that lockdown. You've got Ottawa coming off a loss last night. They have the Red Wings on deck on Tuesday, and you have a rested St. Louis Blues team. They haven't played since the Winter Classic on Tuesday. So this team is going to be ready and hungry to come out and hit Anton Forsberg hard. Ottawa is going to come out nice and hard in that first period to look to get back in the win column after losing last night. So I think both teams come out strong. First period, both teams to score at +188 and the over 1.5. Now, I think the Sens have every ability to pull off the win here. This is going to be a live betting opportunity. If we do see the Blues go up first in that first period, I'll be coming back in on the Ottawa Senators when we're getting some plus money there for them. I think at the end of the day, it goes over 5.5. Now, a playmaker to look for here. If you played the Winter Classic on Cam Fowler for that anytime goal in his game 1,000, you were able to cash. He walked away with 2 goals in that. Now, he is 1 goal away from hitting 100. Cam Fowler here for an anytime goal definitely will be on my card tonight for the St. Louis Blues. I think he can come out nice and strong, get goal number 100 here on Anton Forsberg. The other playmakers you want to look at for the St. Louis Blues, Holloway, Kyrou, and Robert Thomas. And then when we're looking here at the Ottawa Senators, Brady Tkachuk and Drake Batherson are my go-tos for those points, for those goals. Okay, the Anaheim Ducks. We talked about the Ducks. Are they quacking? The dogs aren't barking in my house right now. So we will see here. Yeah, huge trends to the under with Chicago and Montreal. We've seen 4 of the last 6 meetings go under, 1 pushed. We in Chicago, 16, 5, and 2, the last 23 meetings to the under as well, Kurt. So I hear what you're saying there. I just think we're going to have some sort of success out of some of these players. I'd rather look at the player props than that one, to be honest. Okay. The Edmonton Oilers at home here are -490. Isn't that disgusting? A 490 favorite here. Plus 375 on the Ducks out of principle. I just want to hit the Ducks here straight up on the money line to get another win over the Edmonton Oilers. It would be so poetic if the Ducks could get another win. Unfortunately, I don't have any signs from my dogs. They're not barking right now. Total 6.5 in this one. I'm going to play the Ducks a little bit. You know I'm going to put a sprinkle. I love that freaking plus money. And I don't blame you for not betting it, because you look here at Edmonton. Edmonton is the better team in all facets of the way. They've been clicking. They got the win over Utah 4-1 in their last game out. First night of a back-to-back, though, a road trip loading. They will kick it off with the game versus Seattle tomorrow. And then they have it's a total of 4 road games. So road trip on deck, facing a Ducks team, but the Ducks just beat them. If the Ducks hadn't just beat them at the end of December 5-3, I would think, okay, Edmonton's going to completely look over this Ducks team with headed out on the road, but this could be a situation where they want quick revenge, battle the Pacific here. Edmonton sitting third, 13-7-1 at home this season, and we have the Anaheim Ducks rolling in 7th in the Pacific, 8-6-3 on the road. So hard case here to make for the Anaheim Ducks, but I do like their ability to get these goals. They put up 5 goals last time versus Edmonton. Skinner is expected today. With Seattle on deck tomorrow, you could see a little bit of less defense out here in this game as we see the offense just explode for Edmonton. I could see them, Dostal has been solid in net for the Anaheim Ducks, but this is an Edmonton Oilers team. When they come out to seek revenge, they come out nice and hard in that first period, put up 2-3 goals, and then kind of try to lock down. So could we see the Ducks go over their team total 2.5? You're getting over 2.5 for the Anaheim Ducks at plus 132. I do think this is worth a shot here, because we know the Edmonton Oilers have blown leads when they thought they'd been able to control the game and win it. So we've seen those leads blown. I could see the Ducks scoring quickly in that first period. Edmonton going up 2-1, us sweating the over 2.5, but it's still coming into play. Now, if you just want to look at Edmonton's team total, over 3.5, you're going to have to lay juice, and I still love it. I think Edmonton should be able to get those goals on Dostal in this one, just because of that revenge factor. Now, the Ducks have lost their last 6 on the road. They've lost their last 4 games on the road off of overtime as well, and that's what they're off. They won their last 3 overtime win on the road versus the Jets last night. So that was huge for them to get that 4-3 win. I do think Troy Terry finds the back of the net again, so take Troy Terry for the anytime goal. But looking at Edmonton here, Zach Hyman and what he's been able to do out there on the ice, there's no denying him. Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid. So if you want to take Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, and Zach Hyman all for a point, parlay it together, you're going to get plus money at that point, because we know they're also juicy there for the Edmonton Oilers to get those points on the board. But I think it should be an interesting one out there, you guys. Good morning to each and every one of you. The ulting the over 7.5. I love the way you're looking. You guys know you have me as soon as you throw out that plus a money. I'm the only one who bets Brady and Matthew has great nights, and vice versa. You got to love Brady and Matthew Tkachuk. Let's look at the Nashville Predators taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Now, Vancouver played last night, not at home. They had to travel back home. They're a plus 140 underdog. This line is moving so much, you guys. I can't believe I just read plus 140. Looking earlier, like I'm talking an hour earlier, the Preds were a minus 140 favorite. They're now a minus 170 favorite. Money is coming in heavy on the Nashville Predators. Vancouver's had their struggles at home this season, but Nashville, man, it's a hard bet on spot at minus 170 for this team. Total sitting at 5.5, minus 124 to the over, minus 104 to the under. I think there's a couple ways to look at this and still make some plus money. I like the Predators in the first period. And let me check that puck line, because earlier in the day when I bet this, the puck line laying a half a goal was plus 160-ish here for the Nashville Predators. The puck line in the first period, it's dropping. It's minus a half a goal at plus 150. I still like it. I still think that they can go up in this first period with Vancouver having to travel back home. And yes, they had to travel here, but Vancouver last night, they're off the win versus the Seattle Kraken. It was a 4-3 win. It came in shootout. So this team, tired legs will come into play in this game, but I'm not willing to roll here with a Predators team that's lost their last 3. Now, out of principle, I want to come back in on Vancouver because of the plus money. Will I get there? I don't know. If this line goes to Vancouver, what are we at right now? The Vancouver Canucks are plus 140. If I'm getting a plus 150, plus 160 by end of day here before this game kicks off, this is a 10-10 Eastern game. You guys know I'm going to be hitting Vancouver at plus 160. They have had their struggles at home, 7-7-6 at home. They've got a team total of 2.5. It's minus 126 to the over. I expect them to be able to get there. The Canucks have scored at least 4 goals in 3 of their last 4 games. So this is a team that offensively has been stepping up. Brock Besser, for his points and his goal tonight, I think are in play for Vancouver as well. He's trying to get his big contract. He wants to land that money, you guys, and it's really showing with how he's playing. 7 goals in the last 10 games. Jonathan Marchessault here, though, for the Predators has been playing great. 9 goals, 5 assists in the last 10 games. He scored 1 goal in 6 of the last 7 for the Preds, so he has been hot. Looking at him for his points and his goal tonight would come into play. Now, the last time these teams played, it was back on November 17th, 5-3 win here for the Preds. So they were able to get the win. This is still a team that is 3-13-4 on the road. You want me to lay minus 170? I just don't understand how much love is coming in. Now, the Predators aren't defending well. That's something we know. And I know Vancouver with tired legs, not playing well at home, something's got to give. But I don't know, you guys. I just think this one is kind of weird that we're getting or having to lay so much juice. We know the Vancouver Canucks blow leads left, right, and center. So if we somehow see the Vancouver Canucks go up in that first period and not the Predators, and I expect it to be the Predators, and then we're getting a better price, like minus 110 here for the Preds, I could understand coming back in on the Predators, but this game is just not the prettiest. Now, this is the first night of a back-to-back here for the Preds. They have Calgary on deck tomorrow. Game 4 of a 6-game road trip. So they've been out on the road for a while. They did lose that last game, and they've lost their last 3. Lost that last game to the Minnesota Wild on the road on Tuesday, 5-3. So we're sitting here Friday. They've had some rest coming into this one. Their defense really needs to shore up, and I don't think they'll be able to shore up here versus Vancouver. Vancouver should be able to score quickly with the Predators. So if you want to look at the over 1.5, I do think the Predators could win the first period 2-1. Kevin Lankigan expected here, and Saros expected for the Preds. So interesting game. I lean to the over, especially at a 5.5. I just don't see the defense coming right in this game. Quinn Hughes still out of the lineup for Vancouver as well. Yeah, this is going to be weird. We got to look to see who's going to be starting in net. We still don't have confirmations out there. Yeah, Canucks not on the road, but the Canucks, this is going to be interesting. Yeah, he played last night as well. So we're going to see if they bring someone else up. So be very cautious with this. The Predators team total is another way to look. If we see, because Lankigan did play, Demko injured, if we do see another goaltender brought up here to play tonight, we get confirmation of that. Even with Lankigan in, we know Vancouver's not going to provide that defense either. The Preds can score. So the Predators have a team total of 3.5. That's at plus 122. I love the first period puck line for the Preds because that's coming in at plus 150. It was plus 160-ish. So if you like it, get it before this line continues to go up. But that's where I'd go. And then the Predators team total over 3.5 goals at plus 122. I think Vancouver scores on Saroso as well. So I think we're going to lose that 5.5. I think we'll see a 6.5 with goaltending announcements as the day goes on. But that is where I would go, you guys. It's going to be an interesting slate of hockey today. So let's do the recap and send you on your way. Happy Friday again to everyone out there. So looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Florida Panthers, I think this game starts off hot. Can it continue hot for the full game? Not quite sure, but I expect those goals in that first period. Give me the over 1.5 in the first period at minus 134, and give me both teams to score in the first period at plus 168. I'm looking for Sam Reinhart and Barkov to be able to get those points on the board, parlaying them together. Sam Reinhart for the anytime goal. Sidney Crosby for the goal tonight as well. He's had 41 points in 39 games this season. Looking at Montreal versus Chicago, I don't want to jump on a side here. Montreal's been riding so freaking hot. They've also played Chicago so strong. But I think Chicago, after getting destroyed in the Winter Classic, where everyone was watching, Connor Bedard really steps up in this one. So Player prop style game for me. Connor Bedard for the 2+ points tonight. Tara Vinen for the assist tonight. Those are your playmakers there for Chicago. And then I'll look at Nick Suzuki and Kyle Caulfield for the point parlayed together. I'm going to look at Patrick Laine here for the anytime goal for Montreal. And Jake Evans, if you want a player that's been really stepping up as of late, he is great value there for the anytime goal. Trends to the under between these two teams. So cautiously betting those player props. Now the Ottawa Senators versus the St. Louis Blues. Again, I think we've got another hot first period. I'll take both teams to score in the first period at +188 and the over 1.5. I think the Senators have the ability to pull off the win, but I'm just not getting the value that I want with the Senators on the money line. I think this will be a tight battle between these two. Yes, the Sens are on the second night of a back-to-back, but we also have the St. Louis Blues coming in rested. So I think that is prime for us to go to a higher scoring game. Brady Tkachuk and Drake Batherson, your playmakers for the Senators. Holloway and Jordan Kyrou for the point parlayed together, and Robert Thomas for the St. Louis Blues. Now we're looking at Fowler. Fowler again for the anytime goal. He's looking for goal 100. He played game 1000 out there in the Winter Classic, got 2 goals. So he has 99 career goals. I'm looking for goal 100 with that great plus money for him tonight. The Anaheim Ducks and the Edmonton Oilers. The Ducks could be quacking slightly with Edmonton with a road trip loading, but I will just look at the first period, I'm going to look at the point or the goals here for the Anaheim Ducks. Over 2.5 goals coming in at +132. If you want to take first period, I do think Edmonton wins the first period 2-1 style. First period there, Edmonton's going to be hungry to seek revenge here on the Anaheim Ducks after losing their last game out to them 5-3. Zach Hyman would be your anytime goal scorer for Edmonton that I would circle. You could also look at parlaying him for the point, Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid for the point, and getting plus money. Troy Terry is where I'm going to look for the Ducks. The Nashville Predators and the Vancouver Canucks. This one, you got to be cautious. We got to see what Vancouver is going to do in net. They had to travel home. I think the Predators get up in the first period. Predators, for a team that has lost their last 3, is way too highly of a favorite here on the road. I want to take Vancouver to really show everyone that this team can defend their home ice, even though they haven't been able to do so strongly. Their team total is 2.5. -126 to the over. The Predators team total over 3.5 at +122. I think both are in play. I think we have a 4-3 style game in this one, depending on goaltending here for Vancouver. So you got to be cautious with that. This is only a total of 5.5. We know the Preds have the ability to put those goals up. Jonathan Marchessault here is who I will take for the anytime goal. For the Predators, he has 9 goals and 5 assists in the last 10 games. Brock Besner looking to get paid. You know he's going to be looking to light that lamp tonight. Points and goals for Besner here for the Vancouver Canucks. And that is where we're going today. You guys, I want to wish you all the best in all of your bets. Thank you so much for joining me here on Pocket with Jo on SportsGrid TV. We'll be back tomorrow at noon Eastern live, so make sure you join me here. If you hit that like, hit that retweet button, I would so greatly appreciate it. Cheers, guys. Let's hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for